So, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Talent Finders would like to welcome founder of No Self Services, Hot for Success, the Joy Meditation, author of the Joy Journal, motivational speaker, coach, and authority on joyful, sustainable success, Laura May Culver. So, welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. It's great to be together.
Yes. So, Laura, I'd like to congratulate you on all your achievements. So, can you share with us how your entrepreneurial journey started and how you became such an authority in your space?
So, I had been a social worker in the system for 9 years
Yeah.
and found that every time I had a great radical idea as to how to improve the way in which we serve, that within that therapeutical model, right, in therapy, there was always a systemic pushback or it felt that way. So radical, what I mean by that is something that's forthcoming that maybe is what some would deem at that time fringe. For me, it was working, whether it was working on myself or in individual situations, and yet there was a pushback to bring it forth.
Yes.
And so I really and had a craving to share the truth of what actually works to help people change. And there was this stop start. It felt like a stop start. The therapeutic relationship has its place and it's very important. And I felt called to expand that reach to clients wanting to delve even deeper into their human potential. I was always looking for ways to help that would be sustainable, not just fix it.
Yes.
One particular issue, fix that and then be done. No, we're whole beings and we're organic entities. So we need to look at the whole person. And so I was always looking for ways that would be sustainable. And I have never given up on that. And I continue to go back to the table on what's going to work, what's working, what's no longer working. And I studied meditation at the University of Toronto here in Canada in 2007. And there were five people in the class, five people in clinical therapeutic modality with meditation. And that showed me that although it was working, it just wasn't necessarily accepted. I would take it back to the system that I was working at, and I was criticized for doing radical work. And now, if you were to try and join a class at the University of Toronto in mindfulness meditation, you would be on a waiting list for years.
Yes.
So, for contrast of that. So, I always seem to have that radar to look at the whole person and really wanted the preventative and was finding that that was keeping me the system was keeping me from being able to do that. So
So, so,
yes.
so with that, you obviously have you mentioned you have a master's degree in social work, culture, and spirituality. So, do you believe that this has given you an advantage? And if so, what do you believe makes you unique and such an authority in the space?
Well, I yes, I have an MSW, a Master of Social Worker, and I have a Master of Arts in Culture and Spirituality. And they're two separate degrees and had been a therapist for over 25 years as an MSW and a spirituality coach for 17 years.
Yes.
And so I'm learned in human potential and personal transformation. So my spirituality background helps people search and find meaning, purpose, and a sense of interconnectedness with something larger than themselves.
Yes.
I find that the positive changes clients experience are lifelong and sustainable because they're finding a personal connection to who they are and to life itself.
Yes, absolutely. So, can you share with us more about how you apply this in your coaching? And can you give us some examples of what and how this has worked for your clients? And why is this so important and critical in the work that you do?
Well, people are drifting.
Yes.
Not all, but a lot of people are drifting, and they feel like there's something missing in their lives.
Yes.
So together, when I work with my clients and with in groups and organizations, we explore values. We explore deep personal value and what folks are attracted to. So one of my favorite questions I ask my clients is, why are you here? Why are you on the planet?
Mm.
Why did you come to this planet? And I follow up with, what are you drawn to?
Yes.
Like, what is your allurement? And what are you doing when time slows right down and you are fully present?
Yes.
So when you're fully immersed, those are your keys, those are your nuggets of truth for yourself, why you're here, what is meaning and purpose for you. It's
Yes.
personal. So this is spiritual when it's because it's connected to life, which is bigger than all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, having 2 decades of clinical practice, what would you say the biggest lesson has been in your career, and what would you say you have mastered within your own business that you seem to make such a significant difference within your clients' lives and as a coach, and have worked with? So, yeah, I don't know if that's too broad a
Yeah.
question, but
Well, the biggest lesson is the more I know, the less I know.
yes,
And that personal truth is in the willingness to ask the questions and keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, challenging myself and others to stay humble and in a place of not knowing so that we can enjoy the present moment.
yes,
Because when we're knowing, we're usually mentalizing life. We're in the mental and we're figuring it out, which is coming from regurgitated information. Whereas when we're in the present moment, we're open to more understanding of ourselves and life within that moment. So
absolutely.
instead of just regurgitating what we think we know through an egoic process, we're actually moving into a deeper experience of connectedness. To I'll ask my clients, do you want little me answers or do you want an answer from the all knowing? Little me or all knowing? And that's the choice. All of this is choice. This is
Yes.
just one way and one philosophy, but it works. If someone decides that they want to go there and it feels right for them, it really works.
Yes, absolutely. So, um, you are also the creator of the Joy Journal. So, can you share with us more about this, and what was the inspiration and motivation in creating this journal, and what are the tangible results you have seen with those who use and apply the journaling process within your program?
So, when I was growing up, I was always encouraged to use a journal and I would write everything that happened in my day. I'd write about the arguments I had with people, the things that weren't going well. And so I carried that through. We were also encouraged as therapists to encourage our clients to journal and to get it all out, as it were. But what I found, and I still have a lot of my journals from when I was in my teens and young adulthood, what I found in that type of journaling was I was actually re-experiencing what I was reading once I read it over again. So we're very powerful and our imagination is very powerful. And when we read something, we tend to see the image and feel what we were feeling at the time. So I go right back to the argument or right back to the difficult time. And what I found was that when I was studying with some of the coaches that I was studying with, that they were teaching about harvesting the good or focusing your attention on what is working in your life.
Yes.
And so as I was practicing for myself and then unfolding that with some of my coaching clients just to try it on to see how it landed for others, so I knew it started to work for me.
Yes.
I had been writing only what was working. I was only focusing on what was working. It didn't mean that I didn't also do other practices to make sure that I acknowledged how I was feeling. I didn't ignore negativity by any means. But when I wanted to harvest what was working, I wanted to make sure that I documented that. So I remember saying to a client, you need to have a place to write everything down that is good, that's going on, that's going well in your life. I don't know, like a journal, a joy journal.
Yes.
And there was this moment of, oh, that's a neat idea. And so we brainstormed, well, you could get some stickers and some markers, and you could go to the dollar store and, get yourself a little kit for joy. And so this person came back with the kit and had said how wonderful it felt to express themselves in this way, and to be thinking, okay, what is good, and catching themselves and focusing on what wasn't working. And so that's how it came. It's organic. It just, because it was working, we just kept doing it and doing it. And then I would share it. And then folks would come in with their kits, and then they were sharing it with each other. And then I was getting invited to speak in small groups about this joy journal thing. And then it's just organically unfolded from there. And I'm still getting demands for it, even just in organic ways, not just formally. So yeah, it's powerful.
Amazing. So, what would you say within your career have been your biggest highlights? And I'm sure you've had multiple, but what really stands out for you?
Well, the latest is, I mean, I study Earl Nightingale and Think and Grow Rich and the Napoleon Hill Institute, and I listened on repeat, as it were, as part of the study. And I was listening to one of the teachings that I had heard many times before. It
Mhm.
was Earl Nightingale saying success, talking about success and talking about how it's a burning desire and that it's individual, meaning not that we're separate from one another, but we still are an individual entity within the collective, and
Yes.
that it's unique to us, and it's a burning desire in your heart. And I thought, well, if success is a burning desire, then when we are following our allurement, we're hot for our success. We're
Yes,
burning
absolutely.
for it. And so it was this, ooh, that's good. Hot for success. I like that. That feels good. And it's not just about hedonism or anything trite. This is about our divine spark in us, really moving back to that meaning and purpose and connected to success. What do I deem success to be? So the highlight most recently has been this aha of, oh, I want to help people remember their success or find their success, keep their the light of their success hot and burning, so that they're giving to the world in the way that they were designed to give.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. So, in the coaching world, it is very competitive and noisy. So, what would you say makes you different and sets you apart within this industry?
Well, I mean, I have 26 years of therapy experience, and therapy and coaching are not the same thing. But I've walked beside so many folks and heard so many stories. And the way my brain works is I create patterns
Yes.
and I create connections. So to have, I'm like Chat GPT with story, human story. And so I put the connections together,
Yeah.
and I have that training of understanding the pain and what can cause people to feel stuck and cause people to have difficulties. And a person comes to a therapist to talk about what's happened and how to heal. A coach helps to move to the next level of, okay, and then what? Once you're feeling good, life is going well. What else? What else is there? Is there more?
Yes.
So I have the experience and the understanding of the human condition to the extent that I can within the 26 years, also through my own life experience. So
Yes.
between those two things, it informs my coaching in ways that not all coaching persons are informed.
Yes.
And then the spiritual component, having a master's degree in spirituality and studying culture and studying human potential and studying uh, just how we can discern truth, that really helps to add to to what I can offer at that coaching level.
That's amazing. So, um, within that, obviously, you are also a speaker, which you mentioned, and an author. So, was this a natural and organic process for you to expand into, or did you find it challenging? Because for some people, like being an author, writing doesn't come naturally. It's quite challenging. So, I'm just curious what your experience was, or is, or has been.
Thank you. Yes. No, that's a great question. So I I mean, therapists are actually naturally teachers in a lot of ways. And because if you're drawn to the work of walking beside folks, we listen to story, we tell story, we understand making analogies and metaphors for folks so they can relate to what it is that we're sharing. We teach skills. And as an author, I would say I've always been one that wants to express herself through the written form and to share gifts in that way. And then with the joy journal being so organic, so natural, so easy, so um alluring for others, it's I'm also I'm a showboat. I love the being up on stage. I did work on the stage when I was younger and singing for the choir, and so I've always enjoyed that as well. So it's like if God were to give us a purpose, allowing me to also have those skills has really helped. So people say I'm funny.
Well, that's
I'm
amazing.
a
I
good
mean, it
entertainer.
also brings another aspect to it, and it's not always so heavy. So I guess you can bring in the different elements to kind of balance out the way you present yourself, which is an amazing, amazing talent if you've got it.
And also I really it is my passion. It is my worthy ideal to to engage with the audience and pull out what's truly meaningful for them. And I there's nothing more wonderful for me than to watch someone have a light bulb moment or an aha moment and to be given permission, quote unquote, to follow their allurement.
Yes.
Because the systems tend to contradict that. You have to fit in a box.
Mm.
And so to be able to say, no, it is okay for you to take what we say in our talks, take the lid off your wanting. Stop putting a lid on it. Open up, get creative, get excited again.
Yes.
Bring back the flow because that's who we actually are. We're creative, we're fun. If we would be skipping and dancing far more, just like when we were little, we'd be doing it far more if we hadn't had that lid put on our joy and our wanting and our true, authentic, vulnerable self-expression. Little kids don't care.
No, they don't, because
Babies aren't.
they're just free. They just express, which is,
Right.
but as
Exactly.
you grow and you get conditioned, it becomes a little more challenging, I would say.
Yes. And fair enough. I mean, there's always context. At the same time, though, the more we practice that, even if we're doing it in the privacy of our own space, the more we practice, well, what do I really want to be expressing right now versus what I think I'm allowed to express or what's appropriate, all the things. So
Yes.
it's challenging that and helping people decide. Because what I know is that if we don't know we have a choice, then that's where that feeling of feeling stuck comes from. But when we realize, oh, there is a choice, then we can still choose to conform in whatever way we choose to conform. But it's now us deciding.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
it's like learn the rules to break them properly.
Yes.
But if you don't know you can break them, then you're just having to follow the rules from this fear place.
Yes.
But if you realize, oh, I can choose differently and I'm still going to be okay. I have life to lean on, then things really start to flow. And people surprise themselves
Yeah,
in a really
absolutely.
glorious way. Yeah. What they truly want.
Yeah, absolutely. So that leads me into the next question about leadership or lack of leadership from both an entrepreneurial perspective and a global perspective. So what would you say defines great leadership, and how would you define your leadership style, and why is it so effective in the work that you do?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we want what I understand is that we want procreation. We don't want destruction. So if we start there, that on the pretense that we all agree that we would like to see things life giving, life affirming,
Yes.
life celebrating, then a great leader is authentic and humble and willing to lead even when it's difficult or challenging. And a great leader is willing to follow.
Yes.
So great leaders bring their gift, right? So they're aware, they're self-aware, they know themselves as much as they can based on where they are, but they're working towards knowing themselves. They're self-aware and their their gift not they're not always sure how it will be received, but they're okay to bring it anyway,
Yes.
trusting that if they're as clear within themselves as they can be, that it's not so much how it lands, but that they brought their gift,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And whatever it was that they felt was supposed to be added to the collective.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
does that make sense to
No,
you?
absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. So with that, obviously I want to sort of go back to the spirituality part, which is a big part of your work. Um, and especially given the current state of the world, what do you believe this, sorry, why do you believe this is is vital within your work or within the work you do? And what are the changes you see in the implementation of applying the spiritual aspect in the coaching that you do?
Well, again, let's look at the alternative. I mean,
Yeah, which is disaster.
right? What's the alternative? Let's say it. So if we do not have a life philosophy that there is something bigger than ourselves, then we are thinking it is just us alone, fighting others for survival, manipulating others for survival.
Mm,
We're radically independent egoically. So we're being led by our ego, and ego is always a fearful child,
yes,
right? So fear is also always a small child, right?
yes,
So if we so the alternative to a spiritual life is thinking it's all about you and only all about you. It's myopic. It's
mm,
not interconnected. And so we're with spirituality, we have something connecting us. We have meaning, we have purpose, and we have support. Some people find that in organized belief systems, like they might find it in religion,
mm,
they might find it in something that has, a tradition that they experience. And some look to nature.
yes,
And no matter what it is, if it gives them something to lean on and they're feeling like they're not alone, then that's procreative, that's life-giving. They keep going, right? There's a sense of persistence or hope. The humans are volatile,
yes,
right? They are. They're relatively, we're all pretty volatile. And so to lean on them, they could move and shift and change. We don't
yes,
know what we're going to get with the humans,
mm,
but life is consistent. It's always there for you.
mm,
So if you lean on life, we can turn to life. It's consistent, and so when the humans let us down, we still have that running thread or that consistency
And do you
that
also think that it
is always
comes
there.
down to self-trust or trusting the process? Because I know a lot of people say trust the process, but it's a lot harder when you don't, when you're trying to trust the unknown. So I'm just curious if that aspect comes into it in terms of the context of what you're saying.
Well, for me, yes, because I mean, everybody's going to interpret differently and based on their traditions and where they're positioned in the world, right? What they're culturally, how they're affected.
Mm, mm.
At the end of the day, in my understanding, it's if we feel connected, then it's I don't know how else to say it other than we're much more willing to be there for each other, right?
Yes,
We're going to show up from a place of groundedness. And I mean, when the ego has arrived, we're very separate
yes,
and we're running. We're running from the saber-toothed tiger. So we're not stopping to ask our neighbor, so, neighbor, I'm on the way to the store. Would you like a loaf of bread?
mm,
No, we're running past them. We're getting them out of our way because we're terrified. And so there's a personal experience of feeling safe within self when you connect back into life and why life brought you here. Why are you here? It
yes.
goes back to that. So I don't know. Did that answer your
Yeah,
question?
no, 100%. That's perfect. So that leads me to the final questions or the last two questions, which are what are the three key pieces of advice you would give to those who are looking to start their own business and become a coaching authority? And how would you like to be remembered, or what legacy would you like to leave?
Okay. So when it comes to opening your own business or being an authority, I think that humility is key. So whatever branch that you are researching around being a coach, the training that you're receiving, stay humble because we find that archetypally throughout our history and across the world, we see when folks forget to be humble, they get power. Power becomes more important than anything, and that moves to a lower vibration of just destruction as instead of expansion.
Yes.
So humility is really, really important. And to very much integrate holistically who you are and who your clients are instead of it just being from a textbook. That's really important because that's just a mental process. And we know that we're not just mental, we are far more than that. We are holistic. So that's important. And check yourself every single day because egoic and power sneaks in and it takes over
Mm.
and it happens quickly. So you have to always check yourself and never assume because things are going well that you don't need to check yourself and be willing to be coached. That's really important. I have 3 coaches. I have a support network. I have so much support around me where the folks that I surround myself with are willing to check me to check myself and vice versa. So being open and willing to see yourself in the eyes of someone else
Yes.
because it's very difficult to see ourselves. As much as we think we know, we do. It's like an oxymoron because we're getting to know ourselves and yet we need the mirror simultaneously. And what's going on the outside of us is the mirror to what's going on within.
Yes.
So always be open and willing, and it's be willing to pivot too. If something's run its course in your leadership role, where it don't stay because of an egoic reason. Really try to check in and be willing to take the risks that you need to pivot
Mm.
because something just doesn't feel right, and get checked. Get somebody to walk beside you and sort that out with you. You don't have to be alone in this.
No, absolutely. So, how would you like to be remembered, or what legacy would you like to leave?
Well, yes. So I want people to if I were to be reflected back through the eyes of people, I would want them to ask, did she walk her talk? Did she practice what she is imparting? And is she following what she's hot for? So
Yes.
she's what her my worthy ideal. Am I staying as best as possible true to my worthy ideal? So my legacy is to actually be the change that I wish to see in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and to be known for that. As they like to my students used to like to tease me. They'd follow me around. It was there goes the joy girl.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us today. And if people would like to connect with you, what are the best platforms or ways to connect with you?
Well, Instagram is pretty popular, so Instagram's a really good one, Hot for Success, and you can send me a DM. And my website is hotforsuccess.com. So that's another way. And then my email, you can always email me. It's Laura May at noselfservices.com.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for joining. And hopefully, we can have you back in the future to see where you are in your journey.
Thank you. I'd love to. Thank you so much.